myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Rafe and Joe Walker. It's the Monday Club, your chance to come on the channel and have your say about Newcastle United and the ups and ups rather than the ups and downs. Another fantastic result, this time at Spurs. Tottenham Hotspur, of course, been in and around that top four for many a year now. Newcastle gate crashing it at the moment, and we're just saying before we came on, we're just waiting for that inevitable fall, but at the moment we're just going up and up and up, and we're all enjoying it. And congratulations to this man on the birth of Matteo. Fantastic to see Bruno's performance, to see his family are doing well, but also his tweet last night, which was fantastic, just to say that he just, one of the most important, if not the most important moment of his life. Newcastle weren't far from his thoughts, and he wanted to get on the pitch and do his best and get the win for Matteo, which ultimately he did. So absolutely fantastic. But Joe, before we bring in our first caller, Darren, we've got Alan waiting as well. What was your views on yesterday's performance?
Wow, I haven't stopped smiling, to be honest, mate. But just before we get into the match, I'm glad you've mentioned Bruno there. Because I tell you what, it would have been really easy, wouldn't it, just to say, look, I've had no sleep, I've just become a father. Can I sit this one out, boss? Apparently he travelled up on his own on Saturday, and then to put a performance in like that, yet again, ran himself into the ground, deserved every bit of, kind of adoration that he got from the away crowd. And what a result, Steve, what a result. You called it on Friday night. I was a little bit more sceptical because I thought, we are going now into the top four. A very good Tottenham side with arguably the best strike, partnership in the league, if you like. But I tell you what, did we ever really look kind of up against it? I wobbled a little bit just in the second half, particularly after Kane, done Trippier at the back post and we give that goal away. But I tell you what, Steve, they came out. Son was firing them in from left, right and centre, more hit and hope than out else. And we just grew and we grew and we grew. Callum Wilson had an unfortunate collision with Hugo Lloris. What a finish, dipped it over him and over Eric Dyer. And then what can we say about Miggy Almiron? Just darted past that full back like he didn't exist, and you're thinking, is he going to square it? Is he going to bury it? What's he going to do with it? And I think the Miggy of last season and the season before probably falls over and ends up in the crowd, and he didn't. He just buried it, didn't he? And then absolute dreamland. And you know what? I could talk all day. Nick Pope had a good game. Trippier, Botman, Shah, Byrne. We were tremendous at the back again. Bruno, Wilson. We're always better with Wilson. And we're a top four side, Steve. So I tell you what, mate, it feels fantastic. And what a way to wake up on a Monday morning and just check that league again, just in case. And there we are, sitting above Liverpool, above Chelsea, above Manchester United. Yes, it's only early in the season. Will we be there at the end? I don't know. But I tell you what, keep defending like we are. Stick a couple of more in there in January. Keep getting Callum Wilson fit. I'm getting carried away.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it either. It's absolutely fantastic. Should have had a penalty too, Steve. You're right. Mark from Belfast, he says, let Arsenal win the league to get Steve's bet up. Yeah, that's who I bet on the start of the season to win the league. I had a feeling they would do it last year, but I didn't put my money on it last year. This year I have, though, and Newcastle and Arsenal certainly going to give these other teams a run for their money, and they are playing some cracking football. Big up to Mark from Belfast. Good to see you in the chat tonight. George says it's hard for us to sink in. We are actually a good team. And Scott says, Steve is King Eddie a contender for manager of the season already. I think even he would say that, it's too early to discuss that. But I tell you what, if he continues in the same vein, 100%, and that's a great way to describe it, Mozza, Eddie Howe's Europe chasing mags. And William, you are right. There has been the same old today. How bad the opponents, etc. Blah, 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 blah. William, let them jog on, mate. Let them crack on with it. Let them crack on with it. We are just going to enjoy every single moment of this. And a man who I'm sure is our first caller, Darren. Good evening, mate.
Hello, boys. You all right?
Yes,
man,
mate.
all right.
Smiling again, mate. This Monday night show used to be called the 5-minute rant. We had to rename it because we've renamed it twice because it's becoming a pleasure to do this show.
It's great. Just a great feeling. Like you look at the league, fourth top. Who would I would have been happy mid-table at the most, but fourth top. You cannot complain. But Newman's given us, well, we're getting no credit of anybody at all. We played fantastic yesterday. Everton, we didn't play great, but we won. That's the most important bit. But yesterday, I thought Tottenham the first 10, 15 minutes, Tottenham were a bit dangerous. But after organised ourselves a little bit more better. But bossed it from then. And it should have been a penalty. How was I not a penalty? It's beyond me. Dan Burn got a penalty a few weeks ago against his hand up there. Do you know what I mean? But Jamie Redknapp, he had his Tottenham blinkers on at half time because he said that was a free kick. Piss off, man. That's never a free kick in a million years. The blatant. No, wrong with it. Where's he meant to go? It's a good goal, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, it was, as you say, he had his blinkers on, but he sharp changed his mind in the second half. He was full of praise for Newcastle. You've got to give him that. I watched some of the footage back this afternoon when I got back. But yeah, I mean, look, that's a statement performance, Darren, isn't it?
Oh, totally, Steve. How would organising it? You're closing down Joe Linton, jogging back, busting the gut to get back out of the defence. This time last year, he didn't know how to defend. You've got to give credit to Eddie Howe and his backroom stuff because everybody's working for each other. Even at the end of the game, they're hugging each other, celebrating, and morale is unbelievable. And that's what you want.
Yeah, of course it is. Anybody stand out for you as a man of the match, Darren?
Botman. I think Botman's just a different level. He's getting better and better every game you watch him. His organisation, he's just concentrating. Give him 2 years. He's going to be the new Van Dijk one because he's just unplayable. He reads the game so well. Yeah,
I would agree. Joe, what's your thoughts on what Darren's had to say?
Yeah, absolutely spot on. It was a tremendous performance, wasn't it? Yes, I was Sid the sexist, Chris.
I think he was Sid the sexist, mate. I think he said, true or false, did Burra Mag do the voiceovers for Baz off Sid the sexist?
Yeah, I did. No, listen, absolutely, I agree, completely agree with what Darren said. What can you say about Sven Botman? And he's only going to get better and better. He's only 22, don't forget, but he looks like he's been playing in the Premier League for 5 seasons, doesn't he? Yeah, in terms of the goal incident, I'm glad you mentioned Jamie Redknapp because it's a foul. And I'm thinking, yeah, you would have been nowhere near that tackle because you'd have messed your hair up, pal. But yeah, where was Wilson supposed to go? Where was Lloris supposed to go, in fairness? But you know what? What was really, really nice about it? And we've berated VAR, haven't we? It's been my player of the season so far. It was really, really nice that goes to the attacking side for once. Because again, goalkeepers protection, it would have been really, really easy just to blow. It's a foul. You've obstructed him. But let's be honest, it was a poor touch from Lloris. He had a bit of a mare, to be honest. He gave the ball away for our second goal, committed himself a little bit early for Miggy's beautiful finish. But hey, I love it. And, I don't want any of that to detract away from Newcastle. Darren hit the nail on the head. The way that Howard was organised, the midfield was, everybody's doing the job now. And it's absolutely fantastic. I thought Joe Willock played well. Joe Linton pushed further forward, and you're thinking, but I tell you what, he put a shift in, and the lad was even chasing balls down and winning it back for us in the 93rd minute. So it's absolutely class, isn't it? And I think we just go on and on and on. And I'd love to think that we can take this momentum on and sort Aston Villa out on Saturday. Fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of criticism, Darren, coming from certain quarters about Newcastle in the early part of the season, and the usual suspects now coming out and having to begrudgingly praise Newcastle. This is an interesting one from Doug Hall. He goes, hairy hands, aka Richard Keys, saying top players will not come to Newcastle until we move the squad to London. What do you make of that, Darren?
Yeah, he's always going to say negative things, isn't he? But it's like well, Newcastle is a great place to live. Well, I know that. Bruno, he's come here. He could have went somewhere else, but he's come here. He's come for the passion. He's got advised to come here by senior pros. You know, he's come here. He loves it up here. So Richard Keys, he's always got to be negative towards the tune anyway. So because he didn't want to take over the go through it. Do you know what I mean? So he can jog on. Him and Andy Gray can jog on, and they can say the negative stuff, but we know the truth. Newcastle's a great place to come. The fans of the NFL, everybody now is buzzing. Like Les Ferdinand said on Sky Sports, when that team's winning, the full Newcastle, everybody's buzzing. And when you go to play football, it's the best place to be. And that Eddie Howe and the Baton staff has got Newcastle like that now. Everybody's so happy and so cannot wait for the next game.
Yeah, 100%.
Funny though, Darren, there mentioning Richard Keys, isn't it, and Les Ferdinand. Go back to the mid-90s. Newcastle wasn't such a bad place to live. I don't remember Keys slagging him off for joining. I don't remember him having a go at Aspria. And, all right, Shearer was from the region, obviously, but we had some absolutely world-class footballers ourselves, don't forget, didn't we? It wasn't a problem for David Ginola. So, yeah, now all of a sudden we've beat Tottenham, we're fourth in the league, and now we're back to the rhetoric of, the North East's crap. They just want to get on with it, don't they?
Yeah, so like I say, it's just because they can't accept it. We're coming back. We're there a long time ago. And then we got knocked out of it, but now we're coming back, and they know we are not, and that's what the old panel was. Because the Geordie boys will, wherever they go, we will be supporting them, and they know that. And the top six are panicking because we're getting involved now. We're competing with them. Not the Sunday. You're not afraid to play anybody now. You're like, well, we're going to give them a game. You're not scared to play anybody. We're going to give them a game now. After a point of Man U, 3 points of Tottenham, big six teams are taking points off. Crack on. We're gonna challenge them. And that's what you want.
What were your thoughts on Shelby's performance, Darren? Roger Cook asking the question.
He did enough to come on. He come on with Bruno was knackered, wild bugger. Come on, he helped the lads out, and he's done all right. But he can't say he's done great. But he come on and done what he needed to be done. But he's going to need time to get in the match fitness anyway. He's not going to walk straight in the team. Eddie Howe doesn't do that. He's going to work hard to get in that team because he's been out for so long. It's hard to get in the team now. So he's got to be patient. When he comes on, he's got to bust the gut.
Great option, though.
Yeah, what do you think? What did you think, Joe? He did say in the press conference that unless it was an emergency, he probably wouldn't use him, but he came on.
He did, Steve, and yeah, I mean, he didn't have masses and masses of possession, did he? But the fact is, you're bringing John Joe Shelby on, and if anything, what you do have is the ability to either keep hold of the ball when he needs to or release a killer pass. And there's not many of that ilk on Newcastle's bench who would have been able to do that. So, yeah, Bruno ran his legs off. And it's nice to then, because ordinarily we'd be looking at each other thinking, oh, here we go, then it's going to be Fraser, it's going to be Murphy or Willock, if he's playing or not. And here you go, you pop up and bring John Joe Shelby on. So in terms of the squad, he didn't necessarily massively affect the game, but in terms of the squad, I think that's fantastic. Puts a little bit of pressure on Willock now, doesn't it? It puts a lot of pressure on Sean Longstaff. Obviously, he's not going to drop Bruno. I'd be wildly devastated if he drops Joe Linton, but we do know that Howe's a big fan of Shelby's, isn't he? So I think it's grand now to suddenly, just to kind of nudge Sean Longstaff a little bit, who for me took about 20 minutes to wake up, a little bit slow in the middle of the park. Come on, I had a much better second half, may I add, but yeah, he's turning around now and John Joe Shelby's sitting there. So again, fantastic, and a fantastic problem to have.
Shelby's heat map, which has been well circulated, was absolutely fantastic, mate. Absolutely fantastic. He's done really, really well. So, Longstaff is going to be hard to usurp from that team, and he will try and keep as many in as he can. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Darren, any more points? We've got a few people waiting.
No, that's it, mate. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Great stuff as always, Darren. Thanks for your contribution.
Mate.
Take care. Alan, are you there? Can you show your face, Alan? I can see your little speech thing there, but yeah, there's no picture, mate, which means I can't let you on unless your photographs on, Alan. So you might want to go out and come back in. We've got Kevin lined up as well, but it was Paul next in line. Paul, good evening. How are you?
Hiya, Steve. Hi, Joe.
Now, now, have you told your sister that you're coming on tonight? Because we had this unfortunate situation
yes.
weeks ago.
Well, basically, I've been panicking most of the day, but like I say, I'm
locked
here.
The doors, locked the windows, closed the curtains, put the lights on.
I'll tell you what it is, right? The experience yesterday was I was trying to distract myself, and I was keep swiping my phone so that everything goes off your phone, so it's clear. And I mean, with it being on Sky Sports, I've got BT Sports, so a bit of a pain in the backside. But I was listening to another podcast, and I was cooking at the same time, and I was just like, keep flicking through. And like I say, when we went 2-1 up, I was just smiling away, and I kept. I would assume you all did it as well in your head, turn around and saying, "Come on, Newcastle, come on, let's just give another, And it was just because we're in London, and it's such a hard place to get points, But to be fourth, I am very happy. Now the hard part is keeping fourth.
Are we overachieving, do you think?
No. You see, the thing is, right? I mean, like when the lads come out at St. James's Park and they see the war flags display, it raises the heart, And when obviously, yesterday when we was down at Spurs, they never stopped singing, and that also gives you that rise. And like I said in my video this morning on YouTube, we've got 4 games, and then we've got time off for a World Cup in Qatar. That might be a bit of a distraction.
So you think we might lose the momentum?
It's possible, yeah. I mean, it depends what they do out in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can keep that momentum going, because at the end of the day, I mean, some people were saying this morning on Twitter, they were saying, could we possibly go for the top spot? I can't see the top spot, but I can see the Champions League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's looking a lot closer, Joe, than, it's looking a lot closer than it did this time last season. We're looking at the relegation trap door. I mean, this has been a hell of a turnaround, and the momentum is building for all to see. And ultimately, the unity within the squad, and all of this in the last few weeks done without our £64 million player that we brought in, and without ASM, who has been one of our most talented players over the last couple of seasons.
And that's it, isn't it? And Paul's right. There's a World Cup, there's a break. What does that do to momentum and stuff? I actually looked at it the other way and thought, last time we went to Saudi Arabia last season, we come back like world beaters. So if we go away, reset, recharge the batteries, get a bit of sun on the back, and come back, why not? That then puts us, 6 games away, I think, from the transfer window opening again. So you talk about momentum. What happens to that side if you just then happen, for example, to drop James Maddison into it? What happens if you just then get Isak back? What happens when Sam Maximin's back up and running and going at people? All of a sudden, whether it's momentum with the current set of players, but, bringing Isak into the side, it's that old kind of cliche, isn't it? That will be like bringing a new player in. Having Sam Maximin back will be like having a new player in. He's not played for a while. And then a couple of signings in January. So, yeah, Will we win the league? No, we'll say that now. We are still a million miles away from Manchester City, and we've got to be honest about that. But I tell you what, this time last year we were 20 million miles away, and if only now we're a million miles away, so be it. The players will only get better. Whatever Eddie Howe's doing to Joe Linton, whatever he's done to Miggy Almiron, bloody hell. If he had the ability then to spend a bit of time with, I don't know, Murphy, Longstaff, etc., and start coaching those guys to perform like the other two lads have, God knows where we'll end up. So, top 8, I'd be absolutely delighted. Getting carried away, we'll qualify for Europe. Getting very carried away with a decent January. Why not finish in the Champions League? And that'd really, really, really put the cat amongst the pigeons, wouldn't it?
Yeah, would do. Anything else to say, Paul, tonight?
Well, looking forward to Saturday. I've got a couple of sheets of paper which I'm going to put in an envelope, and I'm either going to try and give it to Steve Hasty in case Jamie or one of the other members comes over to the food bank. It's just in case I miss him, because with us having the nephews, they're going to be wanting, after the match is finished, they're going to be wanting to go and wait for the cars coming in. It's a thing we've done each trip, where it doesn't matter what the weather is. We wait for the cars to come in and out, and then it's a case of chip shop, and then straight onto the motorway.
So can I ask what's going to be on these bits of paper? Are you looking to sign on for the club or something? Is it
No. It's basically 9 things which, if they implement them, we change the future of not just Newcastle United, but also the city. I'm down in Nottingham, but at some point, I will be coming back up home, and I want to have a city when I'm coming up the A1 and just coming over the Red Youth, the heart pumps a little bit more. Proud Geordie, man. There's been many times in the past when my brothers went over the Tyne Bridge, and I can't do that way because it's too much of a fiddle on. So I just go straight across the Red Youth, or I go the one down beside Scotchy Bridge.
Right.
And, I want good things for not just like Newcastle United. I want good things for Falklands as well, because I was down at Falklands for 6 years.
Right, okay. Okay, Aston Villa next week. Paul, what's your prediction for next week, mate?
Well, as I'm there, I'm going to go for 4-0.
4-0. Wow.
Yeah.
Big scoreline, mate. Big scoreline.
Mickey, Callum, Bruno, and I think Murphy.
Brilliant.
They won the other day, 4-0. So, let's carry on the party.
Brilliant.
You're right.
Okay, Paul, as always, been an absolute pleasure having you on, mate. We will speak to you again soon. Take care. Keep up the good work. Thanks very much, mate. Bye-bye.
See you, Paul.
Great to have Paul on, top man, and we'll be bringing Kevin in very shortly. But first, we're going to play the ads. A big thanks to all our sponsors, starting with Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to Darren Baldwin Funerals. You can find them at 304 Old Durham Road on Gateshead. Telephone 0191 478 273, or email Darren at darrenbaldwinfunerals.co.uk, or the website darrenbaldwinfunerals.co.uk. Thanks to Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD hemp and cannabinoid specialists. Their website is thegohd.com. And thanks to 3 Property Investments, who specialise in sourcing investment properties for their clients who are looking to invest in the Northeast. They offer a full in-house service from sourcing the deals to managing the properties for you. They've done over 100 plus deals in the past 12 months for clients all over the UK. Give the guys a follow on Instagram, matty.patter_northeastproperty and phil.reed_northeastproperty, or email phil@3property.co.uk should you be interested in getting a good property deal. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's sauces, which are handmade in Cumbria. You can order them by going to the website, mrvickys.co.uk, or by calling 01768 210 102. Thanks to the guys at Blowhole Brewery. You can find them at blowholebrewery.co.uk. Got a vast range of beers. They're a new brewery company, and their cans are suitably addressed, like the Geordie Juice here, in the strips of Newcastle United from the 90s. Big thank you to Media Arts for all the help with the video side of things, and to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle, and the guys who run our website. If you want to subscribe, then hit the subscription button. If you want to hit the likes, then hit the thumb up, and please share to your social media. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes and Spotify, and the rest goes up 24 hours after the show has finished. If you want to join, well, you can click join underneath the video and become a member for a small fee. If you want to pay the £25 fee and get a cup, a pen, a scarf, a membership card, and entry into the monthly draw, then go to the website, nufcmatters.com, and click membership, or use your smartphone on the QR code, which will take you straight there. We also give you a free car sticker. If you're a subscriber, simply email john@nufcmatters.com to claim your free car window sticker today. We also support the food bank on here. nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk is where you can find the matchday bucket and make a virtual donation 365 days of the year. We still do a lot of events in and around the region. If you want to see Super Mac, pre-match and after-match, you can go to the Dog and Parrot in Newcastle and hear Malcolm give his views on the game and listen to what he has to say about his career as well. Always a great afternoon. Kids are welcome. Good food, good beer. And get yourself into Pumphrey's. You can always see John Anderson and John Gibson in there pre-match on the Cloth Market in Newcastle. A couple of events coming up in 2023, an evening with Peter Beardsley, Friday the 10th of February at St. Dom's Catholic Club. You can get the tickets direct from the venue. And Peter Beardsley is also at the Tyneside Irish Centre on Friday, February the 17th. Tickets available from Woucher for that one. Get yourself on a Woucher, make a cracking Christmas present for any Newcastle fan. Also, an evening with Rob Lee, Lee Clark and John Beresford, Friday the 2nd of June, 2023 at the Grand Hotel in Gosforth. Tickets for that are available from www.heelandtour.org.uk/events. And if you fancy a Christmas jumper, get the Bruno Christmas jumper from NUFCmatters.com. And it's time to bring Kevin in. We've got Alan waiting. I can see you, Alan, so don't panic. You will definitely be on. Thanks for the wave, but it's time to bring Kevin in from the USA. Good evening, Kev. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Well, we're still happy since we last spoke. It's been a couple of weeks since we last spoke.
Yeah,
but we're still the winning streak's still going, mate. What's your views been?
I mean, it's just consistency at the end of the day, and that's what we look for. You know, well, I had a bit of a reprimand before I got on here. My boss called me because I got a yellow card in my game with a bit of Antonio Conte antics in my game yesterday. So at least I can might have to take a leaf out of Eddie Howe's book in terms of what he does. But no, like I said, it's just brilliant to watch because I grew up within the Keegan era. It was just consistently good football, regardless of scoring 5, you know, whatever, you know, we'll win a game somehow. And that's what we're trying to do. And, you know, I wrote a couple of things down in terms of the concern of how Tottenham were going to react after the Man United loss. The turnover of ball in the middle of the field was quite a worry early on because we didn't know how to deal with their 5 against our 3. Based on the fact that Sean Longstaff seemed like he had a bag of cement in his boots. That, you know, it was just an over heavy touch and they're in, and you know, Son and Kane are flying forward. You know, but after that it was just controlled, and it was. But at the end of the day, it's a well coached football team. And that, like you guys know, that's what I do, and I say from a completely different perspective as well, in terms of, look, this is how we play. This is what we're going to do. We've got a game plan. It's very well orchestrated of how we're going to do that. And they do it. They do the jobs, you know, the roles, you know, what they're going to do. But again, after the fact of, you know, the onslaught, if you will, if you could call it that, we completely dominated the game up until pretty much they scored, which I felt was unfair. And the way we played, yeah. So to be fair, I'm over the moon. I'm delighted. You know, I'm an expat. I've still got my season ticket. I've still, you know, and it's nice to see us up where we really not should be, but it's just nice to be sitting in fourth and not really worried to be looking down. Can we be looking up now and be positive to what can happen? That's the biggest question. And I was watching it with my son, who I very rarely get to watch it with. And he was buzzing, and he's a half Geordie, so he's got to have that in there anyway, you know. But he was all decked out. All my kids were decked out, and they were buzzing about the whole day. It was great.
Difficult to pick a man of the match out when it's another good team performance, isn't it? But I mean, Sven Botman was who Darren mentioned. He just really is oozing class, isn't he? Every game now, Kev.
I mean, yeah, we were talking about sponsorships. He could be just sponsored by Rolls Royce, to be honest. I mean, you know, I mean, the end, like as I mentioned previously, the entry ball in through what we call it through the thirds in coaching. So when you play through the thirds, and you've talked about Eddie Hard doing the same thing, longer balls, that's no problem. Play direct, great. But the ball into midfield, because Bruno's always shifting, he's always moving. But it's the direct ball into Callum Wilson to feet, and it's a purposeful ball in. But he's this quality. I thought. You know, Pope's 2 saves were big in the game at critical moments in them early parts. You know, but at the same time, you know, is a 90s, born in the 80s, but as a 90s kid under Keegan, I just you know, even my missus is loving Mickey, and she's brand new to the game. You know, we're Lanny United fans, so you know you got to have a bit of, you know. But he's the happiest footballer in the world. I don't care, you know. Yes, he's only got 1 foot, but the desire and showing what he does to enjoy the game, just to go and play the game of football, and then getting however many, 5 and 5 or whatever it is, or something ridiculous like that. That who would have thought that? But yeah, again, it's hard to put your thumb on it in terms of who was the man of the match. You know, you could have said the whole back five. You could have said Miggy for the performance that his work rate that he puts in. You could have said Bruno because he controls the midfield throughout the game. But again, it's a collective, and that's the biggest thing for me. And it's a big collective of desire to win, desire not to concede a goal. Yes, they're all frustrated that it was a slightly soft one, a bit of a dubious one, because I thought it was still offside, to be perfectly honest. But that was just my opinion. I thought there was a little nick off Sanchez when Kane got in front of Trippier, but hey ho, you know, whatever. But yeah, then to be honest, on their side, I was disappointed in them because I thought they would have actually come out the traps and ripped us apart, to be honest. But again, they didn't. So again, it was just all the way around a good, hard working Geordie performance at the end of the day.
Yeah, there was. Joe, anything to add to what Kevin
said?
said?
No, absolutely not. I agree with everything Kevin said. What was quite nice is the bit, Kevin, you were talking about from a football coaching perspective. And actually, for me, I'm just watching Newcastle United going for it, playing really well and winning football matches. But actually, again, we talk about Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall and the coaching staff. You know, we look like there's a plan. Everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. You're right, those balls into midfield that 9 times out of 10, you know, particularly over the last 3 or 4 years, would have just been launched and hopefully Sam Maximin had got on the end of it, or Fraser or whatever. It's nice that you can roll the ball into the centre of the park now, isn't it? And know that it's going to stick to Bruno 9 times out of 10, and he's going to do his thing and actually get the play going. You know, but we've got the ability. Don't forget, Callum Wilson's goal came from a what you'd call direct, you know, a route one, didn't it? You know, Shah looked up, played the ball over the top, and we go 1-0 up. So
over purposeful long ball based on the one that he shot exactly the same to Joe Linton, and which is a possible penalty, but that's another. Again, it was purposeful. It's more. Yes, he can go long and hit it into a big lad and play off of him, but at the same time, I think they've seen something within that back three of Spurs and seen, okay, can we split the two left and right either side and just split them two and make, because Callum Wilson run them channels all day. So I think there's been again clever coaching, being with the analytics and the analysis what they've seen, and agreed. You know, it's not hopeful. It's okay. We'll ping it up in there.
Purposefully done, isn't it?
Purposefully done, and it's like, okay, because Callum Wilson's, like, again, using Mitch's term, it's shithouse. He's a big lad, and I wouldn't want to go fit. I mean, like, with the goal, it was 50-50 in my opinion. I mean, he went down like a typical Frenchman. You know, it was like soft as clots. And even my son was saying, "Get up." Even my missus was saying, "What was all that about?" I mean, and she doesn't know anything about it, but yeah, it's just purpose, and I think that's the biggest phrase I got from the game. There's a purpose, there's a plan, and we get results. And I mean, look, I'm not complaining, mate. At the end of the day, living out here with all these, and I heard Jimmy on Friday night about all the Man United fans and all the fellas who I hang around with or whatever. It's no, you're just jumping on the bandwagon, you know, just support a proper football team, and you know. I just laugh in the face. And
fair play to Melly Barnes, mind, who came on the other week
absolutely.
as a Man United fan, and he sent us a photograph of him when Casemiro scored that goal. Who was down at the front celebrating? Melly Barnes. He's there like that. So fair play to Melly. He's a proper fan.
Fair play to him. Look, fair play to him. He's been on the show. He's been honest enough and open enough to sort of take a bit of flack. I mean, hey. We're getting from Tuna Army Atlanta side. We're getting influx of requests to join the fan club. I said, well, calm down. You know, we're only fourth. We haven't won the league yet. You know, chill out. But yeah. So I'm like a pig in the literal. You know, so it's a good time and it's a positive time. Again, like I said last time, it's just I wish my dad could have seen the whole thing because he integrated me into the Keegan days. So and I was blessed enough to say that, and I based my coaching off the Keegan days and base it off of Pep and Eddie Howe and how my teams approach it, even though we'll get beat 6-1 and whatever. But it is what it is. And
got to start somewhere, mate. You've got to start somewhere. Here's an interesting one. I'll ask you this one. But not Barry Hogan's question. Barry, it's interesting. You say that Keegan's team did have a defence. Look at the stats that season when nearly won the league, and the back four did very well that season. Man United was the difference. They were used to winning trophies, and we didn't beat them that season. That was the difference. But this go on, Kev.
The caveat to that was in the big games we didn't score. We didn't win the game. The Blackburn game, it was, you know, when they come to our place in Cantona, scored that one that hit the deck and bounced over 20 foot over.
Didn't beat them.
Yeah, we didn't beat them. We didn't have that guile. We didn't have that. We had the attacking flair. It was wonderful to watch.
If we'd won those two games, we would have won the league. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
here's the question I wanted to ask you. Scott says, evening, lads. Can't wait until the next game. Quick question. Would you rather finish 15th place and win the Carabao Cup or finish 4th and get Champions League? He says it's mental even talking like this. Kevin, I'll go to you first.
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I remember the Champions League days, but I mean, that's going to be a bit of an expense for me to get over the Champions League now. But I would go in the middle. I would go win a Carabao Cup, finish 7th or 8th, and I think that'll be a good year. I mean, based on the players that we have, I think the Champions League might be a bit too early based on the demand. I mean, Eddie Howe plays a very intense game in terms of how he wants the team to play, in terms of pressing, running all over the place, you know, high press, you know, constant all the time. I think that'll be too much for what we have. I mean, yes, we've got 2 windows, but again, financial fair play comes into all of that and the selling on of players. And I mean, we can't, let's walk before we can run, essentially. Let's win a cup. Let's get to a final. Let's get to deep into the FA Cup final. Let's get there. And I tell my team, let's make the dance first. Once we make the dance, we're there. We're going to get something out the end of it. What do you want out of it? Do you want a gold medal? Do you want a silver one? It's up to you. So I would rather get to a FA Cup final, Carabao Cup final, 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th, somewhere around in there. And I think that'll be a fabulous season for us. Next year, yes, then you can look into sort of say, let's go win a Carabao Cup. Let's push for that Champions League based off of window spending and window movement of players in and out, the quality players that we actually need to get us there versus all or nothing. I'm not going to throw my eggs into that all in that one basket. I just not willing to do that. I'm going to play it safe and sit on the fence a little bit and say Carabao Cup in the 7th place finish.
Okay, go on, Joe. Same question to you.
I just want to see my team lift a trophy at Wembley. So if you offer me the Carabao Cup now, I'd take it. And do you know what? It's interesting, isn't it? And then we can all stop talking. It's become like England in '66, hasn't it? Stop talking about it. Newcastle United have won a trophy. Next season we'll go and win the Champions League. So yeah, just the thought of it, the thought of it gets me going. Just to think about not only going back to Wembley, but lifting that cup, dressed in our Saudi kit, of course. I'd absolutely love it. So yeah, I'll take a trophy all day long.
Gary Milligan, that's a classic. When getting back to Miggy only having 1 foot, so did John Holmes. Gary, for God's sake. That's a Friday night joke, man. It's a Friday night joke. Kev, anything else you want to add tonight?
No, mate. Again, just continue what you're doing. Let me know if you want to come back on. I've got quite a bit of an opinion about seeing the game from a coach's perspective. Not that I'm a high level, but that's, again, I'm an expert.
No, 100%, mate. This next month is quite busy with a film that I'm putting together. So there's a lot of pre-recorded shows going to be coming out over the next couple of weeks. So, hopefully I'll still be able to get a couple of lives in. It really just depends on the call sheets and when and where I'm going to be. But once I've got this film out of the way and we start heading into late November, early December, I'll definitely take you up on that and I'll get you on. I've got a couple of ideas for new shows, which I'd like to introduce to the platform. Sure. So 100%, mate, I will take you up on that and obviously be conscious of the time difference.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I work at night. So, I mean, I'm sitting out here in my back deck with the sun shining and with my sunglasses on my head. So, I'm good. I can join in whenever. Oh, and by the way, it's my birthday Friday. So...
Have a good one, mate. 21 again.
I've got a 11 o'clock game on the Saturday morning, so... good luck to them, and that's going to be an interesting.
Good luck to them. Kev, as always, great stuff, and I'll reach out to you on Twitter, mate, when I'm ready to do those shows, mate. Take care.
Sounds good, mate. Have a great one.
Hey, Kev.
And you. Bye-bye. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for jumping on. Last but by no means least, tonight it is Alan. Good evening, Alan.
Hiya, lads. Well, what can I say? Bloody brilliant performance. Shows by, I guess, everybody's got pride in the team, Steve, Joe. I saw the drills before the game, Joe, Steve. The defence, Trippier, Botman, Shaw, Byrne, Pope, drilling themselves, and I thought it was like Hadrian's Wall. They're all like brick, blah, 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 houses. They looked fantastic. I thought, what a defence we've got. I thought it was absolute, one to a man, the 25-man squad, Jacob Murphy coming on, they all knew their jobs. And that's the great thing about it. Everybody knows their jobs. Even if you, like me, I don't think Jacob Murphy can take with the next level, but he's doing a hell of a job. If Longstaff could only cut out the dawdling on the ball, he would be a top-rated midfielder. He gets caught out once or twice in the game, lads, and I don't want to pick faults at people because all around the squad was fantastic. And, lads, this time last year, Joe Linton and Miggy, I would have wrapped them up in a serviette, put some red sauce on, and sold them for £2.50 at a burger van. But I have to say that Miggy, brilliant. He's added end product, Steve, Joe, absolutely end product to his game. And that second goal was fantastic. Regarding the first goal, that was a perfectly good goal, lads. Absolutely couldn't see nothing wrong with it. I was jumping them down and hitting the ceiling. Sorry, Klopp. Hitting the ceiling when they were delaying, the verdict. And it was, to me, it was a collision, and that was it. And Wilson was really sharp, brilliant finish. And I just thought, for a couple of weeks, lads, I hope Wilson stays fit and he's got a chance to go into the World Cup. I really do. He's a natural finisher, really natural finisher. I'll stick to my 7th position, lads. I'm not getting carried away because it's a long season. It's a marathon. We'll have our downs. We're all on a high here. I'm on a high. Steve, I was up till 3 o'clock watching the game about the third time. It was 3 o'clock. Sorry, lads, if I look a bit tired. I was watching Tottenham podcasts. They were saying the referee was their man of the match. I'm thinking, give over, man. Give over. But to be fair, some of them were saying we deserved the win. What an ox, mate, lads. Even the presenters, even on Sky, were saying We're time wasting. We're time wasted at Liverpool. We're time wasted at Man United. And now we're time wasted at Tottenham. That's been going on for the last 50 years, lads. Since I've been, the top teams always waste time. When you go away from home, you waste time. If you're leading or drawing, you waste time. You frustrate the opposition. You know, the shithousery we're doing is brilliant. And it's winding up teams. It really is. And go for it. You know, it's absolutely brilliant, lads. Villa will not be an easy game. I want everybody in the chat, Yano, Lisa, everybody, that Gary, all the people. I'm happy for everybody, yourself, Joe, Steve. I'm over the moon for everybody because we've been through 15 years of dross, and now it's attacking football. It's lovely to see the fans, everybody united. I could hit the ceiling now, Joe, if you wanted to. I'd hit the because
Go on.
You know, it's absolutely brilliant to beat a London club. And, you know, the London fans are now, you know, on the pod, starting to realise they're fearing with Steve, Joe, if you go on the podcast, we're playing Newcastle away. We might get a draw. Where last year, the year before, should get 3 points there. Everyone. And it bodes well for the cup competitions, lads, because nobody will want to come up here to play with in the FA Cup. And we've got Palace, which is in the Carabao Cup. Answer your question, Steve, about the 15th Carabao Cup any day, because what I've had through my life, Joe, is I've won nothing. I've won nothing. I've won, you know, Everton fans, Aston Villa fans, people in mid-table. Company have bloody won the FA Cup, lads, man, in my lifetime. Wigan have. You know, you just got to win trophies, and that's what it's about. So if we finish 15th and won the Carabao Cup, I'll be absolutely over the moon, lads. Absolutely over the moon. But I'll let you go, lads. I've got just so much pride in the team. And I keep on saying it, Steve, and I'll say it till I die. Strikers win your matches, defenders win your titles. If we've got that defence right, which we have, then we're halfway there. Top four, it's a long way to go, lads. We'll go through our ups and downs. We'll have a couple of games. I mean, Tottenham fans, they want Conte gone. I'm thinking, are you for real? You're third, man. You're in the Champions League. And actually, Steve, Joe, I'm going on one of the podcasts tonight to wind them up because at 9 o'clock, I think it's a cheesy broadcast. And they're canny lads, but they're deluded, like always, like most fans are. We're all deluded. We want the best. We want, you know, Paul went on and said, we're going to beat Villa 4-0. No. I went down that road with Bournemouth only a few weeks ago, lads, when, Steve, you know yourself, 5-4, 3-0, 1-0, back of the backside off somebody, Joe Willock, I'll be over the moon, move on. Saints, there'll be tough games. And then, again, Chelsea at home, just go for it. When World Cup, and if we're in the top four, it's got to, like some of the chat says, it's got to attract better players, surely, Joe. If we're in the top four, we can say, hey, listen, if you come here, we could make the Champions League. Sure, it's got to help people to attract better players.
Is the hardest part for Eddie Howe avoiding complacency, Alan?
Definitely.
And keeping the feet on the ground?
Yeah, definitely. Spot on, Steve. It is because we're all on a high. I know myself, Steve, Joe, I know I'm not a professional, but I've ran all my life. And when I've had a great race, the adrenaline run through you for 2 days and you calm down. The next race, you don't do as well and you get upset. And I remember 15 years ago, Joe, we're in the same position with Graham Souness. Aston Villa come to town, Dyer and bloody Boyer were fighting on the pitch and we got beat 3-0 and we collapsed in the UEFA Cup. Right. You know, it went pear-shaped after that. So everybody in the chat, enjoy it till Friday and then focus on beating Villa. And then that's it. Don't worry about top 4, top 5, winning the league and all that rubbish. The squad's got to build. We've still got a lot of dead wood in that squad. Better players hopefully will come. I know I've rabbited on, lads. I want to.
No, it's your show, mate. It's your show. It's always good to hear. What do you make of what Alan's had to say there tonight, Joe? It's
nice. Last time we were on the show, I think we won 5-0, and Alan wanted Eddie Howe out, if you remember. So it's nice, Alan. It's nice to meet you, mate. It's no, listen, and isn't it just Alan's hitting the nail on the head, isn't he? we're talking about the fans, we're talking about us, we're talking about the people in the chat. Isn't it just lovely? Everybody's come on tonight. First thing we've done, big smiles on our faces, And Alan's right, isn't he? Yes, I opened up by saying I'm starting to get carried away. I think that's on the back of I don't think we're going to get relegated this season, and that'll be enough of me getting carried away, to be fair. But you know what? We're enjoying it, aren't we? We're absolutely enjoying it. So yeah, yes. I thought we'd get 4 points out of those 3 games. We've ended up with 7. Who'd have thought that? We've got a shot.
We got 9 points, we would win the league.
Yeah. I did say that. Yeah. We might just finish second now, Alan. But yeah, why not? Why not go into that game on Saturday and think, yes, they might have the new manager bounce or whatever, Mr. Gerrard's gone. But we're Newcastle United, and like Alan said, instead of me looking at what Aston Villa are doing or what Aston Villa are not doing, they will absolutely be looking at, right, are we gonna deal with Guimaraes? Are we gonna stop Callum Wilson down them channels? What are we gonna do with Miguel Almiron? People can start to talk about Newcastle for once, and clubs haven't done that for a long time, have they? This was an easy 3 points. It was certainly an easy point to come to, particularly Mr. Bruce's Newcastle, and you didn't have to do a great deal, and we were beaten. And now we are unbeaten at home. What a calendar year we've had. Let's just not look at this season. Look at the calendar year. We've been absolutely phenomenal, and it'll take more than Aston Villa to knock us off our perch this week, I'm sure.
Prediction for the weekend from you, Alan?
2-1.
2-1. Yeah, I think it's going to be closer than people think. I mean, that sacking of Gerrard certainly gave the crowd, the crowd of players down there a bit of momentum. They've bounced like some people do. I guess it depends who comes in. Not really been many rumours that I've seen about Villa. I've just got a fancy that this is the job Rafa might take, Alan.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. It's a perfect job for them. They've got good players there, Joe, Steve. They've got good players there. They just haven't been performing. And really, I mean, a lot of opponents are winding them up even today by saying it isn't a disgrace. They beat Brentford 4-0 and they didn't do it under Gerrard. Well, that's, that's a caretaker bounce, if ever. Steve Cook, I think, at Bournemouth has had the same effect. And that's why I think, Villa on Saturday, they regard themselves as a big club, even though I don't, but their history tells you they are a big club. They're a massive club. So you've got to be wary of them because they'll be up for it, and how, like Joe says, how to stop with. So come Saturday, if we win by 1 footy goal, lads, I'd be ecstatic. If we win by what Paul says 4-0, good on him. But steady progress, lads, and just all keep our feet on the ground. Just one game at a time. I know I'm sounding like Eddie Howe here, but we've got to keep our feet on the ground and enjoy every minute. And after I finish the show, Joe, Steve, I'll watch the game again and see why we didn't get a penalty. Because, Burns' penalty, well, I agreed with it. So I should have been a penalty with Joe Lennon.
Paul made the point when he was on a bit earlier as well. He felt that the break may affect us more. I mean, we're going to Saudi again. We've got a game already lined up there. We're guaranteed to have probably 2, I think. But a bit of warm weather training. Newcastle came back refreshed with a squad unity, and went on to that wonderful run which saw us survive last season. Do you think the break is going to affect us, or do you think it'll benefit us?
Well, for one thing, Steve, I think it'll help us because 2, you'll have Isaacs and EASM chuffing at the bit, surely. What are they thinking now? Surely in training or wherever they are, they must be thinking, crikey, are we going to get into this team? So surely to God, they'd be thinking, I've joined the right club now. Especially Isaacs, it'll be like a new sign for our lads, surely.
Yeah.
Especially in January, both of them. As if they get over their injury problems and they start afresh. We've got Leicester on Boxing Day. Never easy place to go. Well, Boxing Day record is, unfortunately, lads, is absolutely appalling. So I'm not taking anything for granted. But for me, I don't see it that way. I think it'll be a team bonding. Bruno, great interview. 48 hours without sleep, and then he comes on and gives his all. We've got a week. every other game is a week now for resting, and more time for the players to come back and who are injured now. It'll be a great time to just bond even more. So I don't see it as a hindrance at all, to be honest with you. Because, to be honest, Steve, they've been calling for a winter break more than 2 weeks for, 20 years now. So a World Cup break is a winter break.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Elliot Anderson was injured. Stephen says he was injured, not too serious, we're led to believe. But yeah, just a precaution, I think. Yeah, and Julie, yes, we can. I'll have a word with him. Leave it with us. But I did say that he'd been blocked. He's a nice kid. Eddie should just let the players watch a rerun of the Villa game when we got relegated. The way the Villa fans ridiculed us. No more motivation than that to stuff them. And I've got to be perfectly honest as well. I do think that the press that was given over the course of the build-up to Spurs told you that Eddie was probably using the 5-1 defeat down there as a chance to push Newcastle onto greater things this time round. So fantastic. Yeah, I'm sure he does use those kind of things. Alan, last couple of minutes, anything else you want to add, mate, before you jump off and wind the Spurs fans up and watch the game again?
Yeah, basically, Steve, well said. It's amazing though, Steve and Joe, when I go on the podcast, how many people have changed their minds. Like Everton fans and Villa fans, would they have Eddie Howe now? And they've changed their minds dramatically because they've all said, wait, no, he won't do anything good. But he's absolutely been phenomenal, lads. And long may it continue. He is, literally. We're all living in dream worlds here. I mean, I couldn't believe it after the game. And I'm thinking, these men are absolutely fantastic. The camaraderie, the team spirit. And it shows by the callers on tonight from Darren, Paul and Kevin. We're all full of pride, and the lasses. Everybody's full of pride for the team. I'll leave it at that, lads. I've got loads of more points, but I'll go on the Spurs podcast at 9 o'clock, lads, and see how well we did. And it was a goal.
Top man, take care. We will surely speak to you next week, mate. Have a good week. Take care. See you later. Great to have the callers on, as always, Joe. Some great points tonight made by all the guys. Yeah, Joe wants to know what the odds are on Klopp to be sacked before the World Cup, so maybe get that for Friday if you can.
Well, nothing would surprise you, would it? Another poor result. It was a definite coupon buster. We always say beware the early kickoff, but you're expecting Liverpool to go down there and get a result, and not only did Forest win, Forest were the better side, so I'm sure that'll be Newcastle's fault or Saudi Arabia's fault or Pep's fault or something. But yeah, it's not all rosy in the garden for old Jurgen, is it?
Yeah. Julie, you're still in the chat, which is good, because those of you who watch the Three Amigos on a regular basis will know that we do Troll of the Week. And because I was cramming in as much as I could all the way through the show, I forgot to do it. So here you are, Julie. Better late than never. Yep, Troll of the Week, which I missed out last week, was quite a good one, actually. And as you know, there was a lot of stuff being said backwards and forwards between Manchester United fans and Alan Shearer and myself. So this one was the one I picked out. Go to Turkey and get a transplant instead of coming on here moaning, you big bald idiot. Thanks, Jay boy. Thanks. Yeah, it was worth the wait.
Was that the you or Shearer?
That was direct to me, yeah, because I was in. I put manure in the tweet with that Alan had put out. So there you go, Julie. A midweek one. I haven't missed it now, so I'll just do one on Friday. Oh, look, just happy. Just put the cat emoji. Yeah, anyone telling us to go for a hair transplant? It's good. Yeah, he showed a bit of initiative. Okay, Joe, great to have you on as always, mate. Thanks to everybody who joined in on the Monday Club. We will be back tomorrow at the earlier time. Sorry, Barry Hogan, 9:30 in the morning. As I say, I'm all over the shop with what time I can do shows live. Me and Ross Gregory, 9:30 in the morning. Wednesday night will be pre-recorded, but it will be Geordie's here. Geordie's there on Wednesday night. And Thursday, let me see, Super Mac and Gibbo, but I'm just trying to think what time. I think that's live at 6 o'clock as normal. And the Three Amigos is Friday as normal. I think we might go for the slightly later time. We had massive numbers when we went 6 till 8 again on Friday. So we may well go 6 till 8 on Friday, but I'll update you on that during the week. Joe, as always, a pleasure, mate. Take care, my friend. Speak to you soon.
Take care. See you guys.